Have you ever looked around at your life and thought, this can't be it? Maybe you're in a season where everything feels slow, silent, or even stuck. You've prayed, you've waited, and still nothing looks like the promise you are holding on to. But what if I told you that the place you're in right now isn't a mistake? What if I told you that even the delay, the detour, and the disappointment are all part of divine design? You see, we live in a culture that glorifies the next thing, the next level, the next door, the next breakthrough. But what if this moment, this space, this season is not holding you back, but holding you together? Tonight, I want to speak to every woman who feels unseen, every man who feels overlooked, every heart that's growing weary in the waiting. I came to tell you, you're not behind, you're not forgotten. Have you ever looked around at your life and thought, this can't be it? Maybe you're in a season where everything feels slow, silent, or even stuck. You've prayed, you've waited, and still nothing looks like the promise you were holding on to. But what if I told you that the place you're in right now isn't a mistake? What if I told you that even the delay, the detour, and the disappointment are all part of divine design? You see, we live in a culture that glorifies the next thing, the next level, the next door, the next breakthrough. But what if this moment, this space, this season is not holding you back, but holding you together? Tonight, I want to speak to every woman who feels unseen, every man who feels overlooked, every heart that's growing weary in the waiting. I came to tell you, you're not behind, you're not forgotten. There's something about a hidden season that can make even the strongest heart start to question its worth. You're doing the right things. You're praying, you're growing, you're sowing good seeds, and still nothing seems to be moving. You're sitting in a space where there's no spotlight, no applause, no confirmation that any of this is working. It's quiet, it's slow, and you start to wonder if maybe God skipped over you. But I want to tell you something that might just set you free tonight. Just because it's hidden doesn't mean it's not holy. We live in a world that teaches us that visibility equals value. That if people aren't clapping, if platforms aren't calling, if things aren't happening out loud, then it must not be important. But that's not how the kingdom of God works. God does his most powerful, most transformational work, not on stages, but in secret. In the places where nobody is watching, in the seasons where nobody is checking for you. Some of the most meaningful breakthroughs you will ever experience don't come with fanfare. They come in silence, they come in obscurity, they come in the hidden spaces where it's just you and God, and you're learning to trust him when you can't trace him. That's where the real power is born, not in the noise but in the nurturing, and I know that hidden seasons can feel like punishment. You see others moving, growing, glowing, and you start to feel like you've been left behind. But God hasn't forgotten you. He's forming you. There are things he's placing in you during this quiet time that couldn't grow in public. He's building roots that run deep so when the time comes for you to rise, you won't fall. You've been asking for fruit, but God is focused on your foundation. You've been asking for a platform, but he's strengthening your posture. Because what's the point of reaching the next level if your character can't carry it? So yes, you're hidden right now, but you're hidden on purpose. God didn't bury you, he planted you, and there's a big difference. When something is buried, it's meant to stay dead. But when something is planted, it's expected to grow. Think about a seed. A seed doesn't look like much. It gets covered in dirt. It gets pressed down into a place where it's dark and lonely. But in that dirt, something miraculous starts to happen. The shell breaks, the roots stretch, the process begins. And even though nobody can see it, that seed is becoming. Some of you are in a becoming season. You can't see the change, but it's happening. God is stretching you, maturing you, healing you in places no one else even knows are broken. It's underground work. It's unseen work, but it's sacred work. So don't rush out of this season just because it's uncomfortable. Don't dig up what God is still developing. He's doing something in you that's going to sustain you when the spotlight finally finds you. Because you don't want to be discovered until you're ready. You don't want the weight of visibility without the strength of preparation. And trust me, God knows the exact moment to reveal what He's been building. I know it's hard. I know it's frustrating. But don't let the silence convince you that nothing is happening. God often speaks the loudest through silence. He often works the most in what feels like stillness, and just because you can't see it doesn't mean He stopped moving. It means He's moving in a way that requires your faith, not your sight. So if this is your hidden season, embrace it. Steward it. Let God stretch you. Let Him break what needs to break. Let Him pour into the places that the world never applauded but He always cared about. There's glory in the growing. There's power in the planting, and there's purpose in the pause. You don't need to strive to be seen. You don't need to chase after validation. When God is ready, He will bring you forward, but until then, trust that where He has you is not a mistake. You're not forgotten. You're being formed. You keep waiting for the next thing to validate this thing. You're looking at your current life, your current job, your current situation, and thinking this can't be all there is, and I get it. When the promise in your heart feels bigger than the place you're standing in, it can make you question if this is really where you're meant to be. But I want to tell you something that might shift your whole perspective. This place, this moment, it matters more than you think. We keep thinking purpose is somewhere else, somewhere further, somewhere shinier, somewhere more impressive. But what if God isn't waiting for you to get there? What if He's asking you to show up fully here? Sometimes the places we're called to don't look like what we imagined. They feel too small for what we carry. They feel too quiet for the kind of voice we know is inside us. But here's what I need you to understand. God doesn't waste places. If He led you here, He intends to meet you here. Stop waiting for there. To honor what God is trying to do here, because there's nothing accidental about your current assignment. You might think you're stuck in a job that has nothing to do with your gift. You might feel like your family doesn't see who you're becoming. You might be walking through a season that feels beneath what you know you're capable of. But God is not random. He is intentional. And if He planted you here, then this ground is holy. We think holy only shows up in the sanctuary, but sometimes holy looks like being faithful in a place that doesn't celebrate you. Holy looks like showing up in a classroom, in a cubicle, in a kitchen with the same passion you'd bring to a stage. Because purpose isn't about where you are, it's about how you show up where you are. Don't despise the season that feels too small. Don't overlook what God is doing because it doesn't look like what you had in mind. Your current space has spiritual significance. There's a reason for this season. There's oil in it. There's wisdom in it. There's growth in it. But only if you're willing to see it through God's eyes. I know you're ready to move forward. I know you've been preparing, praying, pushing. But what if the very thing you're asking God to release is connected to how you handle the place you're already in? See, promotion in the kingdom doesn't come through striving. It comes through stewardship, and sometimes the key to your next is honoring your now. You've been asking for doors to open, but God is asking, can I trust you with what's in your hand? You've been asking for increase, but God is asking, can you be excellent in obscurity? Because how you treat this place is preparing you for the weight of the next place. Look at David. He was anointed king, but he went right back to the field. No throne, no crown, just sheep. But he didn't say, this is beneath me. He didn't wait until he got to the palace to operate in his calling. He served where he was. He worshipped where he was. He killed lions and bears in private before ever standing in front of a giant. Because he understood that every space matters when God is in it. Some of you are waiting for visibility when God is developing your victory right here in this space. You don't need a bigger platform. You need a deeper posture. You don't need a title. You need the tenacity to be excellent where no one is clapping. Because that's the kind of heart God elevates. That's the kind of spirit He can trust. So I need you to shift your mindset. I need you to stop seeing this season as a delay and start seeing it as divine. You're not just passing time here. You're being prepared. You're not just surviving, you're being shaped. There is destiny in this space, there is anointing in this space. And there is something God is doing in you right now that you will need when you step into what's next. Don't run from it. Don't wish it away. Dig into it. Discover the beauty of the place you thought didn't matter. Speak life over it. Pour into it. Trust that God is doing something significant in what looks insignificant. Because the truth is, you've been waiting for the fear to leave before you move. You've been waiting to feel completely ready before you step out. You've been trying to calculate every outcome, make sure every I is dotted, every T crossed, hoping that somehow you can move without risking anything. But let me tell you something I had to learn the hard way. Faith doesn't wait for fear to disappear. Faith moves in spite of it. We've got it backwards. We think courage is the absence of fear, but it's not. Courage is the decision to move forward while fear is still speaking. Courage is that quiet inner voice that says, "This still scares me, but I'm going anyway." You're not going to always feel bold. You're not going to always feel qualified. You're not going to always feel like you have what it takes. And that's okay. God isn't looking for perfect people, He's looking for positioned people. People who are willing to step out with shaky hands and trembling voices and say, "Lord, I don't know how this will turn out, but I trust you enough to go." Some of you have been parked in potential for too long. You've been sitting in what God called you to do, waiting for a green light, when He's already given you permission to go. You don't need another confirmation. You don't need everyone's approval. You don't need the whole plan spelled out. You just need to trust that if God placed it in your heart, He's already gone before you. You think you're waiting on a sign, but God is waiting on your yes. Not a perfect yes, not a fearless yes, just a willing yes. Because here's what you have to understand: obedience doesn't start with clarity. Obedience starts with surrender. You don't get to see the whole picture before you move. Sometimes God gives you just enough light for the step you're on. And that's not a punishment, it's a test of trust. We want the whole staircase, but God gives us one step. And if you can be bold enough to take that step, He'll show you the next one, but He won't reveal what you refuse to walk toward. You keep asking God to prove Himself, and He's saying, "I will, but walk first." You keep asking God to give you more, and He's saying, "Be faithful with what I already gave you." You keep asking for the fear to leave, and He's whispering, "Take me with you through the fear." Fear doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're human. It means you care. But faith means you trust God more than you trust your feelings. And when you move in faith, even if it doesn't go the way you imagined, you still win because obedience is never wasted. God isn't just watching what you do. He's watching why you do it. Did you say yes because you wanted to be seen? Or did you say yes because you trust the one who sees you? Did you step out because it was easy? Or did you step out because you know His voice too well to ignore it? That's the kind of faith God honors. You don't need to have it all together. You just need to be anchored in the one who holds it all together. You don't need to be the most talented, the most confident, or the most popular. You just need to be the most surrendered. That's it, because a surrendered life will take you places that hustle and hype never could. So even if your voice shakes, speak. Even if your knees tremble, stand. Even if the road looks unclear, walk. God doesn't promise us certainty. He promises us presence, and I'd rather walk into the unknown with Him than stay comfortable without Him. Some of you are praying for open doors, but God is asking, will you knock even if no one opens it for a while? Some of you are praying for breakthrough, but God is asking, will you break the box you've put me in first? It's not about being fearless. It's about being faithful. It's about saying, God, I'm scared, but I'll still go. I don't feel ready, but I believe you are. And when you move like that, when you trust Him that deeply, there is nothing that can stop the momentum of a surrendered heart. So if you've been waiting for a sign, let this be it. You don't have to feel ready. You don't have to feel brave. You just have to move, because the truth is,